Welcome to GoGWBulldogs.com. I'm Darren Drennan here with head coach Rick Jones of the Greenwood Bulldogs. And, Coach, I'm sure you had a wonderful offseason. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you guys worked on this offseason?
Well, there are a lot of things to work on, that's for sure. We started in January, and we live 4 days a week. We have 1 day of what we call practice, where we practice in helmets and shorts. And we then go in, that's our phase one, and then we go into what we call phase two, and that occurs right around spring break, in which we go to 3 days a week lifting, 2 days a week of either football or agility drills, or a combination of the two. And then we get to, obviously, spring practice, and you go through 9 days of spring practice. We take a couple days off, and then we had team camps, three different days this summer, and those are really helpful. We went against Van Buren and some other schools, but it was just good practice time for us. And then on the July the 6th, we started the Fast Dogs program for the 9th year. Had great turnout. Our kids do great in that, and we had over 480 kids involved, and grown-ups for that matter, involved in the Fast Dogs program. But it was really, really good, really fast summer. We started practice a little later than normal just because of the way the calendar fell. But I feel like for week 2 we're in good shape. We're in good condition physically. It's just a matter of just getting the fine points of the game down. It's been a good August, and we're happy about where we're at, but we have so far to go. I think sometimes in the first game you just think, well, we're going to play so much better than you actually do. It was disappointing that we didn't execute some of the things that I really thought we would execute much, much better. We didn't. But I guess we wouldn't have canceled practice had it been perfect anyway, so I guess it gives us something to work on.
Well, I know you had a scrimmage against Van Buren, and, of course, new thing this year, new conference, new challenges. Talk about the step up to the 6A. Obviously, a lot of folks in the 5A happy at this point, but Greenwood obviously will step up to the challenge. Why don't you talk about that?
Well, we will step up to the challenge, that's for sure. We're looking forward to that. It's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to just play and coach and compete at the next level, and that's what it's all about. We've had some good years here. Obviously, we had a great year last year. We mercy ruled 9 out of 14 teams. So I guess you could say it's time for us to step up and get ready for the bigger boys, and that's exactly what we're going to get. But it's a challenge for us in terms of just, you look at the schedule and you have Southside, Northside, Conway, Russellville, Catholic, Hall, Parkview. You have a total different group of people. I mean, we've played Southside a couple years in the 9 that we've been here, but everybody else, we really don't see them very much. We've seen Russellville a few times on a film swap when they played Morrilton, but we don't know a lot about those guys. I've never seen Catholic play a football game. Hall, Parkview, I've never seen them play a game. Russellville, we did team camp with Russellville a couple years ago. But the familiarity is what's really interesting, because we really don't know, and I don't even know where some of these people play. We've never been to the stadium or anything like that, so that part of it will be interesting. But we do know that with bigger schools comes bigger kids and faster kids, and we're going to have to step up what we do. And I think that's the main focus of what we've tried to do since we found out we were going to the 6A level. We came up with a motto: do what we do, only better. And I think that says a lot, but it says primarily that what we do, we're doing the right things, obviously. We just need to do them better. And we're not going to drastically change how we do things, but I think it's important that as coaches we have to make a few adjustments. What might have worked at one level might not work at another level. I've learned from bouncing around at jobs, what was really good at one place isn't necessarily good in the other place. And I think that's part of the overall stepping up into the 6A level. We're not going to reinvent the wheel or anything like that. We're not going to be in awe. We're not going to be awestruck. It goes back to the old adage, we respect everybody, fear no one, and that's sort of the way we look at it. We're not going to fear anyone. We feel we can play football with anybody, and now we have a chance to prove it.
Well, Coach, you've been in Arkansas a while now, and some refer to you as the professor of Arkansas football, but you got your beginnings in Oklahoma, and this last Friday night, you're able to step out of state, out of conference, and take on Sallisaw, a familiar foe. Talk about the game Friday night.
Well, it was an interesting game. We thought on Tuesday we should have rescheduled it to Thursday because of the hurricane. We thought we were going to play in the middle of a hurricane. At that time, our best information was that at game time there'd be 3 to 5 inches of rain and 20 to 30 mile an hour winds and things like that. And we really wanted to move it to Thursday, and the folks at Sallisaw didn't. And fortunately, the people at Sallisaw were right because we had a great night. Their grass was unbelievably good. It was really, really good. They had gotten some rain, but it did not affect the game whatsoever. We had dry footballs to throw. It was overall, the weather was a lot better than we played. I tell you what, I thought the weather was fine, but our play wasn't very good in some places. But it was it's interesting to go back to Oklahoma. Sallisaw is a great traditional program. They love football. It's a very similar type town to what we have here, so we sort of understand where each other's coming from. They've won state championship there. Craig was the quarterback. I've known the head coach, Craig Benson, for probably 20 years or so, and their assistant coach, Coach Walking Stick, I've known him forever as well. So it's always good to go back and see old friends and compete against those guys. And they were a tough physical group. They got after us really, really well. They had a few little wrinkles that we weren't aware of that they sort of surprised us with. And it took till halftime for us to sort of sit down and gather our wits about us and make some adjustments. But it was a good end of the game, or a good third quarter, and not so hot in the first, second, or fourth.
Well, at halftime, 16-14, but a lot of new faces this year. A lot of faces and numbers we've seen carry the rock, and of course Drew Morgan's one of those guys. You got McAllister still out there. New quarterback though. I know he's a sophomore last year. Got some time at the end of the games, but this year Jay Burgess is the quarterback and did a pretty good job Friday night.
Well, he really did. His statistics were really, really good. We played Jabe and Houston both. Their skill sets are so different that there are different times and different places, I think, that we can utilize both of those guys. I thought Jabe was good, but I think he can get a whole lot better. Houston did some great things in being a tough physical runner and doing what we want him to do there. And I think we have a good 1-2 punch there, and we'll play both those guys. If we're in a passing contest, we'll probably play Jabe a little bit more. When we need the tough yard, we'll probably play Houston a little bit more. But we're glad to have both those guys. It was not it was not the best that they're going to play. In fact, I think both of them, we just watched film, and I think both of them will play a lot better than they did. But the good thing is I think the ceiling is so high for both of those guys. I think their ceiling is way out there that we haven't seen yet. And I think we're getting there slowly but surely. And the more we do it, the more reps we get in game-type situations, the better we'll be.
Talk about the defense, Coach. Obviously, first half was not probably what the defensive staff wanted to see, but the second half basically pitched a shutout. Had to feel good about that.
Well, I was proud. I was proud of our defense. Our defensive coaches at halftime, I went over, and I don't bother those guys very much, and that they would just soon. I never bother them, but I went over there and I saw that they knew what was going on. They had a plan to devise to do the best we could to stop it, and so then I went back and started worrying about the offense. The defensive coach did a great job. Coach Cox, Coach Chick, they did a really, really good job of seeing what they were doing, making the adjustments. Our junior high coaches that also help us in the box, Coach Thornton and Coach Cawthorn, Coach Holloway, and Coach Kincaid do a really good job of what we call spotting. And we have assignments for them to do during the game, and they did a really good job as well, because when we came in at halftime, they had it all up on the board. Our coaches could see it. They had already been talking about it. So they made really good adjustments, and I was proud of the way our defensive staff adjusted. Offensively, we're just a little bit off, just a little overthrown ball or a great ball that's dropped or a missed block here when everybody else has done their job. Is just having 10 guys going well on a football team is not good enough. You have to have 11 guys doing it right to make it work, and that's what we didn't do very well.
Talk about special teams, Coach. I know Drew Morgan had an 80-yard punt return, which was not necessarily your traditional punt return, but you got to be happy that that happened. And then talk about special teams moving forward. What about kickers?
Well, we have a lot of work to do in special teams, that's for sure. Kevin Jones is our place kicker, and we missed our first extra point. There was a snap hold kick. We just didn't get it right. And then we came out and missed a 47-yarder, which was a little bit short and to the right. And so the third kick went in, luckily. And then we sort of got a little bit of a rhythm. He goes Charlie Brown after we go up. I think we're up 14 points. He goes Charlie Brown on the next kickoff and trips and hits an unintentional onside kick that Michael Nelson very alertly fell on, because really no one knew that was coming. I was talking to the quarterbacks, and I thought, what in the world's going on out there? I saw the big pileup because it was totally unintentional. He hit a wet spot, and his feet flew up over his head, and it was, like I say, it looked like Charlie Brown and Lucy. But it was spotty. We punted the ball okay. We covered pretty well on kickoffs. I thought our kickoffs were pretty good. We did hit a couple field goals. The field goal right before halftime. Momentum is such an important thing. And in that drive, I was really frustrated we didn't get a touchdown, because I thought we were getting ready to get a touchdown right there. But we got the lead, and that was really nice to have. We were down 7-zip, and then we were down 13-14. So it was nice to go in at halftime ahead by even only 2 points. It just makes you feel a little bit better, because we knew we could play better. And we came back in the second half, especially the third quarter, and played better.
Coach, a lot of analysts believe that teams make their most improvement from week 1 to week 2. Be a good time to do that with Alma coming to town.
We better make some improvement, because we know Alma has a really good football team. They have a different looking football team. Usually they're just these great big guys, but sometimes they haven't been able to move as well. This is an athletic, big, fast team. Really best Alma team I've seen since I've been here, I think. I really like their quarterback, their receivers, their running backs, their O-line, D-line. I like their team. They have a really good football team. It's going to be a big challenge for us.
For the first time in a long time, it's a different conference, but probably still the same passion with these two teams.
Well, I would think so. It's an interesting way to finish the season, because however you go, if you win or you lose, there's a potential for letdown, and I've always worried about that when you have that game scheduled week 10, because a really important week is week 11. Because if you don't play well week 11, there are no week 12, 13, or 14. So I've wondered about that. It's great to finish up with your rival, though, and especially your conference rival. And usually we've played most of the time where the winner goes one and the loser goes second, third, or fourth. So it's been a huge game for all of us. But I think to the people that live here and to the people that live there will still be the usual animosity and fervor involved.
Well, Coach, thank you very much for your time today, and thank you as well. And we'll see you next time right here on GoGWBulldogs.com.